Many consumers are switching from dairy milk to either nut milks or soy milk. But are nut milks a healthier alternative? Dietitian Allie Miller, owner of Naturally Nourished, is here to break down the facts and show us how to make one from scratch. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Melissa.
Okay, let's break it down. What's your thought on dairy milk these days?
Well, you know, dairy milk that's commercially bought is going to be homogenized, so it's high heat processed. Also is going to sometimes have antibiotics or growth hormones in there. So some of those things are very concerning. If we do want to get a quality dairy milk, we want to buy one that's in a more whole food form. So preferably organic, free of hormones and antibiotics. And then maybe non-homogenized or maybe even low heat pasteurized or raw to maintain those enzymes and probiotics. That's going to be the most nourishing product.
Okay, if you decide that you're going to try an alternative, what would be a reason that you might want to try a different kind?
You know, nut milks went on the rise, I think, because of dairy allergies and then the vegetarian and veganism movement. But now I think consumers are buying them because they're lower calorie. But what's concerning is, you know, sometimes I kind of joke that the processed nut milks are kind of an expensive water. All of the vitamins and minerals that they're enriched with are an additive. It's not what's naturally occurring out of the nuts. They're also really high heat processed, and then they're going to have things like binders and fillers. So we'll see things like sugar as the second ingredient, or carrageenan and guar gum. Some things that we're seeing as a stomach irritant can even be pro-inflammatory, leading to more chronic illness.
So that's not what you want if you're trying
Definitely
to get the
not.
health benefits out of it.
Definitely
so what
not.
What are your alternatives? And are you pitting soy milk into that as well as when we're talking about the nut
Yeah,
milks?
you know, soy milk had a huge rise with helping with premenopause because of the estrogen activity, but now we're a little bit more conservative on that, especially because it's usually made with soy isolate. Anytime something's isolated into a really processed ingredient, we want to keep that out of the body and work with whole foods. So if you want to do a nut milk, I say start with the whole food itself and do it from scratch.
Can you buy an all-natural one that's really good, or are you going to have to make it yourself?
Even the refrigerated ones are going to have that carrageenan and the additives.
Okay,
yes.
So show us what we do.
So what we have to do, so what's really fun with your homemade nut milks is you can also start with a variety of options. So we have pecans, almonds, Brazil nuts, cashews, fill in the blank. I mean, you could do hazelnuts or anything. So you get much more variety, and then you can get more of a web of micronutrients. Today, we're going to be doing a Brazil nut milk. And Brazil nuts are going to be really high in selenium, which is an antioxidant that also helps the thyroid gland for metabolism.
So you've soaked them first?
Yes, soaking is super important. And so you want to soak for at least 8 hours. That's going to bring the nuts back to life. It enriches the enzymes and the nutritional availability to absorb. Then we're going to take our soaked nuts. So you're going to strain those and put those in the blender, about 2 cups, and add 5 cups of filtered water.
And just for anyone who's ever, if you've never tried a nut milk, just so you know, it doesn't taste like you're eating liquid almonds. I mean, it's really delicious. A lot of, I do drink almond milk quite a bit, and you really can't tell much of a difference than from a typical dairy milk.
It can be really nice and creamy. So I also add a pinch of sea salt because when you're working with whole foods, these are raw unsalted nuts. So you want those electrolytes. And then I'm adding in a couple dates. This is going to give us a little bit more potassium and magnesium.
It'll make it a little sweeter too, won't
Absolutely, and thicken it up a little bit more naturally. So we're going to blend this up.
There you go.
So you can see it gets really nice and creamy. And maybe we'd let it go a little bit longer at home, but then you can strain it in 2 ways. If you want to retain more of the fiber, you can just use a metal mesh, or you can use an actual nut milk bag or cheesecloth. So we would just put this in the jar and pour it off.
Excellent information. Thanks for showing us. We're going to taste test during the commercial break.